so overwhelmed with the whole process, production process. Okay, let me do this. Then this is going to be the intro, and then this is going to be here. And then we got to do mixing, and then we got to do that. Before you know it, you're so worried about the mechanics. You're so worried about what the whole thing is going to set, like the final product, that your final product sucks. Okay, so today we're going to talk about the 3 secrets to making beats, making professional, pro-sounding beats right from the crib, okay? These 3 secrets right here are the only things you need to create the beats that you want to hear and that you want to produce, all right? So let's tap in. Believe it or not, 75% of the game of making amazing music it's not in your DAW. It's just not. It's all up here, and it's all preparation before you even go and sit down and make music, all right? These 3 secrets, they're essential. Like, they're absolutely essential. If you can get these 3 things knocked in or locked in, if you can get them down, it's over. Like, I promise you, you'll be making amazing music, and you'll have a long-lasting and ever-growing, skill or career, I should say, really, in making music. Using what you like to do and making money with your craft, basically. Okay, so let's tap in. Let's dive in. I took some notes. I wrote down exactly what we want to talk about today because I want to make sure I cover everything. Okay, so before we get started, of course, though, if you haven't already checked out the Ultimate Beatmaker Toolkit guide, go ahead and download this guide. This is essential. This is part of, this will be part of the video. I'll talk about this a little bit in the video, basically what's in this guide, but go ahead and get this guide. It has the best sounds or the best recommendations that I recommend, sounds, plugins, and hardware recommendations. Okay, so go ahead and get that, start making some bangers, start making some dope beats, and just can't win. Start making some beats. Sorry for the Hellcat out there. But anyways, so let's get to it. Let's go. All right, so the first thing I want to talk about today is out of the 3 things, the first one, which is probably the beginning, like it's the most important thing. I'm not going to say that because I feel like they're all really important. First thing is the mindset, all right? Your mental mindset. Okay, this applies to honestly anything you want to get into. Could be beats, could be entrepreneurship, could be whatever, you name it. It doesn't make a difference. Your mindset is essential to how you produce and create things and honestly become successful. And we all know this, right? But I want to talk about this mindset in specifically with making music, with specifically being a music producer, okay? The first thing we want to talk about is your space, your studio space. Having a designated studio space, I can't express it enough. The importance of having a space where it's designated for you to work. I mean, you do it at work, we do it, think about it, like we do it all the time, but when it comes to our music, when it comes to creating, it's kind of an afterthought. The studio is your space. This is where you're going to create the best stuff. This is where you're going to create income. This is where you're going to create the things you're feeling, that, this is the way you can express yourself. This is one of the most important things, in your whole career is your space. So having a designated space is so important. Not to mention, you want to have, you want it to be aesthetically pleasing for you so you can feel comfortable, so you can really work at your highest potential. Really, you want to function, honestly, at the highest potential or highest, perform the best, I guess, right? So having the space mentally, I'm telling you, it'll change the game. So if you don't already have a studio, or if you're kind of debating like, I don't know if I want to do that, I would recommend it strongly. Like, set up a designated space. This is, I'm splitting this studio space with my bedroom, or this is in my bedroom basically right now. But, originally I had a separate studio for my space, and that was, I'm telling you, I created the best stuff in there. And I made it a mission to find a space that, or a house to rent that had a separate room so I could have my own studio, which I'm telling you, it changed the game. So I would definitely strongly recommend, just really like putting more emphasis on that. I feel like a lot of people just kind of throw it out the window. Oh yeah, whatever. Just start making beats. You can make them on the kitchen counter. You can go and make beats anywhere. It doesn't make a difference. Just bring your laptop. That's cool and all, but I'm telling you, if you can have this space set up, that's going to change the game. I promise you. That's my recommendation in terms of the mental mindset. That's just one piece. The second piece is direction, finding direction. So it's crazy because we talk about having drive all the time. Hey, we got to have that drive. We got to have that motivation. We got to get to it. And the whole point of having motivation, having, accountability, all those things is so you can move in a direction, right? But if you don't have a direction, you're basically just running all over the place, and you're burning out, and nothing really gets done, right? So having direction is key with anything. In terms of music, though, let's talk about that. Having direction with your beats. Simple as that. There's so many avenues that you can take with your music, with your craft. You can sell beats. You can get on YouTube and teach other producers or create beats, maybe do like a live or, whatever. You could do that. You could also do sync licensing, right? So you can make music for commercials and, TV, stuff like that. Or you could work in a studio, right? You could tap in with artists in your local city and really impact, the people around you with the music you're creating, engineering, things like that, right? There's so many avenues, and that's just to name a few, right? Because you can get down and niche down into something very, very specific. Maybe you're doing lo-fi, and that's how you make your money. You do lo-fi on Spotify, and you pitch your stuff to playlists and things like that. I say all that to say that there's so many avenues with music, right? And if you haven't picked one, it's okay if you haven't picked one. Definitely dabble, figure out what you want to do, but don't sit on your hands. Like, don't just keep doing everything. I promise you, it just won't get you far. I promise you it won't. All right, I'm telling you. So pick one thing and tap into it until you see the cup overflow, right? And then go to the next one, right? That's the methodology. Honestly, with everything, I think that's something that we as producers or just entrepreneurs, whatever, we neglect. We're like, we could just do it all. I'm guilty of it too. I can just do it all. It's not possible. It's just not. It's not possible. So tap in, find that thing, like really dig in, do some research and find that thing that you want to do with your music and hyper focus on it. The more niche down you get into your craft, the more results you're gonna yield, really, honestly, right? So that is the two biggest things in terms of your mental mindset that I want to talk about today. And that's secret number one. All right, secret number two is going to be the tools. This is a great analogy or example that I love to use. And it's this guy, he's a mechanic, and he's like he's an independent. He doesn't work for a company or anything. He's just on the road, mobile mechanic, right? And he's like, look, I can get the job done, faster if I had the right tools. Like, that's why I have to charge you more money, because it's going to take me longer because I don't have the right things that I need to get the job done, right? And I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, look, the more tools you have, the faster you can work, the more clients you can have, the more efficient you are. You can basically do things that don't take you as long if you didn't have it. But I say all that to say it's the same concept as a music producer. If you don't have the right tools, and I'll explain what tools are in just a second, it's over for the game. It's going to be harder for you to do something so simple if you had like just the right tool to do it, right? So having the right tools, the ultimate beatmaker toolkit, that's literally what it is. Having the right sounds, having the right plugins, having great sounds, like high quality sounds, not crappy sounds, and then having a selected sounds that you can pick from and start making beats with. In my opinion, do not have a bunch of sounds, thousands of different sounds you're jumping around with. It's hard to find your sound. It's hard to find something consistent. It's hard to make something, it's hard for you to learn something and get it the way you want it to if you're jumping around all over the place. I promise you, if you could focus in, get high quality sounds, and pick a group of sounds and focus in on those sounds and start making music, you're going to start to begin to develop your own sound, develop your own style, and I'm telling you, you're going to be on your way. Also, another important tool, which I probably should have mentioned before, is your DAW. Everyone has to have a DAW. I mean, come on. We're not even going to talk about that. Like, come on. You got to have a DAW. We all know that. Here's what I want to say about the DAW, though, right? So I guess I am going to talk about it. Here's what I want to say. Find the DAW that you like. Pick it and stick with it. It's just like I guess this is kind of like the motto of this whole video. Pick something and stick with it, right? So it's the same concept with your DAW. Pick a DAW. Doesn't matter what DAW it is. You can make great music in any DAW that you have. It doesn't really matter. Dead serious, does not matter. Pick the DAW that you like, and you can try. Like, you can do some trials or test out a couple things for a couple weeks or whatever. I personally wouldn't overthink it. I would look into something, tap in, and just commit to it. and just commit to it. Like, hey, I'm committed. Let's get it. You know what I mean? I know that's tough, but just commit to a DAW. Tap in, learn the DAW, because the more you learn the DAW, the more you can just take what's in your head and put it out there and get it across, get it into that DAW, right? The quicker you can do that, the quicker you can get yield results that you're trying to, you want to get that thing out of your head. You're like, yo, I don't know how to do it, and if you know your DAW, it's a lot easier, right? Of course, you can learn other DAWs later. I'm definitely considering learning some other DAWs later down the road. I do, use Pro Tools, which is something I've kind of learned as I started doing, recording sessions and things like that. But that wasn't until, 3 or 4 years after I was really tapped into my DAW, right? I really knew what was going on. I could, go through FL Studio and make a beat with my eyes closed. You know what I mean? So tap in. Like, the DAWs is so important. Like, the DAWs is less as important as it's more important for you to know your DAW than the specific DAW you're in, right? Who cares about the DAW? Just, you got to know it though. You got to know that joint. It's a part of you, right? So you can produce amazing beats. All right. So that's the last piece of that in terms of the tools. So that's like the second secret is the tools, the toolkit. Like, you got to have the toolkit, right? So the third secret is practice and observation. That's what I put down here. Practice and observation. Okay. So this, and they go hand in hand, right? Let me give you some tips on practicing, what I did, what worked for me, and hopefully it'll be beneficial to you as well. First thing first, I started making loops. I talk about this all the time. I talked about it in my pro producer workshop. I talk about it whenever I can talk about it, I'll talk about it, right? If somebody's interested, I'm gonna talk about it. Make loops. Now, the key to making great loops, that's a whole nother video. And honestly, if you want that video, we could tap in on that. I feel like I've done something like that, but if you want a more in-depth video on that, comment below. So making loops, this is something I did. I did this for 2 or 3 years. Just made endless loops, like just made great loops. And what I mean by loops is, you got the melody, you got the drums, you got the 808, you got everything. And you just loop it over and over again until it sounds really, really good. Make sure the drums are placed right. There's too many kicks, there's too many hi-hats, or take the hi-hats out in this space, like it's too many rolls. Or, this bass line doesn't really sound seamless. It kind of sounds like choppy. And I would just do that over and over again. If I didn't like it, I'd do another one. Once I finished that, I would just go to the next beat. That's it. This is fire. This is a cool loop. I'm gonna go to the next one. Did that for years. Just go. Loops. Until I was like, okay, man, I like this. Let's start arranging these things out. But the reason why I say that is because you can get so overwhelmed with the whole production process. Okay, let me do this. Then this is gonna be the intro, and then this is gonna be here, and then we gotta do mixing, and then we gotta do that. Before you know it, you're so worried about the mechanics. You're so worried about what the whole thing is gonna set, like the final product, that your final product sucks. Like, you're so worried about the final product. Your final product is trash. You're not even there. You're not even really just creating to create, right? So practice. That's a great practice tip. That's something I did. I'd recommend it. Start cooking up loops. Just start cooking them up. Don't worry about the rest of the beat. Don't worry about all of this stuff and adding a low pass filter and doing like a tape stop and all. Don't worry about none of that. Just cook up loops, cook up stuff. You want those drums you want the whole loop to be seamless. Like, it could just be on repeat over and over again. You're like, yeah, this is hard. I can keep listening to this. Because that's all the beat is anyways. It's literally just a bunch of loops. It's literally just a loop over and over again, right? And then you're just taking things out, you're carving things out, right? And that's kind of like the arrangement. And I'm gonna do a video on that as well, very, very soon. So look out for that, okay? But anyways, so that's number one. That's the first thing I would say in terms of practicing. Another great tip that I haven't done this in a while. I need to jump back on it. The 10-minute beat challenge. Shout out to Curtis King. He's the one that, I don't know if he invented it, but I got the idea from him. And I was like, yo, this is amazing. I started implementing it. And I was like, yo, I got to tell everybody. Like, if they don't know, I got to tell them. 10-minute beat challenge. I'm telling you, just set an alarm for 10 minutes. Sit down and just cook up a beat. Don't think about it. Don't, just do it. Don't overthink it. If it just go with the flow. You only got 10 minutes anyways. You got to make a beat in 10 minutes, right? So just get to it. And I'm telling you, this is going to allow your creative juices to just flow. There's no right or wrong. There's no, no, I don't like that as much. You don't have time for that. Just go. It allows you to be creative, and it really brings the best out of you, and you keep practicing that. It just brings the best out of you. It allows you to really create quickly and efficiently, right? And, when you can do that quickly, that's when you get the best stuff. We all know this. When you can just put it out there like that, and it's coming right from flowing from your heart and your brain, just boom, right into your DAW, it's over for it. You know what I mean? So 10-minute beat challenge. I would challenge you to do that. 10-minute beat challenge. I do it once a day. Like I said, I want to get back to doing that again, where I'd go in once a day and just make a beat for 10 minutes and just call it one, right? So I'm gonna do that myself. So next thing I want to talk about is observation. So like I said, practice and observe. So observation, right? Mentorship. Finding mentors. I mean, I can't express it enough. Honestly, I wish I started doing this when I started making music, because when I didn't, because I didn't do that, it took me longer to get to where I wanted to be, right? So I'm telling you, find a mentor. And a great way you can do that, you could start small. Find somebody on YouTube or wherever. It doesn't make a difference, in your church or in the community, whoever, and just hang out with them. If they're online, just study them, watch their videos, watch how they make stuff. Get involved with what they're doing. Maybe they're doing, maybe they have a Discord or whatever, or a community of their own. Whatever they have, get involved with what they're doing. Ask questions. Hey, look, hey, I need this. What's this? Ask questions. Get involved, right? Bring value to them, right? Simple as that. I'm telling you. Hey, what can I do to help? And just get involved in people's lives. In if you want the mentorship, you want to, find somebody in that space. That's what you have to do. You have to provide value. You have to tap in and observe, see what kind of work they do, see what they stand for, what they believe, because the reality is you have to find somebody that aligns with who you are, right? So I'm telling you, I know people always say this, oh, you got to get a mentor, but I can't express it enough. It just didn't hit me until like maybe 2 years ago. I got to find somebody that can mentor me, that can get me right, man, that can, put me on the right path. I can ask questions that's been where I've been. You know what I mean? Telling you, I promise you can find great mentorship. Even if you want to start, like I said, with just following someone on YouTube, following a YouTuber or a producer online, and listening to the content and digesting it and following the steps and implement. That's mentorship. It's at a smaller level, right? But it's still mentorship. You're finding people that you can look up to, that you can learn from, and implement the things they're telling you, right? Telling you that'll take you, so far. I mean, we all know this, but it's not said enough in this community, in the producer community, in the new era of YouTube and the content creation. It's just not said enough. Find a mentor. It's actually easier than ever. You know what I mean? And you don't even have to be in person. You can be virtual. You know what I mean? So tap in, and that's it. Those are the 3 things right there. And I'm telling you, like, I could teach you how to make a beat. You've seen me make beats all the time on this channel, but with these 3 things, this is it. Like, this is the biggest thing. These are the things that are holding you back. They held me back for years. And honestly, making beats is cool. You can watch me, and that's great. Observe. You can watch other producers do the same thing. That's great and all. But if you don't have these 3 things, you can forget about it. It's over. Just pack it up. Go do something different. You know what I mean? So hope you enjoyed the video. I know that was like, I was just getting straight to it, and I hope it was full of value. I really want you to implement these things I'm talking about today. Like, don't just shut this off and be like, all right, cool, that was great, I'm empowered, or that's great, that makes sense, it's insightful. Tap in, like, really go tap in. Implement these things. Go back if you have to and watch the rest of the video. Take notes. Do what you got to do to make it work, because at the end of the day, this is your career, this is your craft, this is your dream, and you want to feel confident. You want to be able to tap in and make amazing music and inspire people around you. This is the way to do it, and to get to where you want to be. Or honestly, it doesn't matter where you want to be with music. These 3 things is it. You know what I mean? All right. So, of course, if you haven't already checked out the Ultimate Beatmaker Toolkit, that's step 1 right there. Tap in, get the toolkit, start working with that toolkit so you can get the plugins, get the software, or get the sounds, and get the hardware recommendations, and start cooking up crazy beats. Start getting to it. Start sending your beats out. Start asking people for help, and provide value. Don't just take. Provide value. Hey, how can I help? What can I do to help you out? Tap in. All right. So hope you enjoyed the video, and yeah, that's it for tonight, today, whatever time you're watching this. I will see you in the next one. Peace.